It does seem to me, I mean, one of the blights of our town cities now is the general feeling of lawlessness. So this is something we need to talk about. Also, by the way, in this hour, we are going to be talking to Hatton Tash. You may not have heard of her. She is a Christian preacher. She has just been paid £10,000 in damages by the Metropolitan Police for the second time. Why? Because she was wrongly arrested. Both times she was at Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, the place where you're allowed to go and speak. People expect to hear things from people preaching from the pulpit on politics, on religion or whatever. But she was surrounded by what can only be described as a baying mob of Muslim men. We'll show you a clip of what happened to her. She was attacked. She's been stabbed before by people standing around her, criticising her, what she has to say, her criticism of Islam. And so she was the one who was arrested. None of the men surrounding her, intimidating her, threatening her, have been arrested. Two-tier justice? Yeah, I think that's where we are right now. So we're going to be talking to her later in the show. It's an amazing story, that, Claire. And again, it ties into the whole two-tiered policing, two-tiered justice, but also the stuff that we actually care about, rather than what they've written on Facebook. We actually care about whether, you know, you've had your bag snatched, your phone stolen, burgled, your car taken, your bike taken. I don't know anyone who hasn't had something like that happen to them in the last year. There is a feeling of lawlessness. Do you have any hope whatsoever that Yvette Cooper, the new Home Secretary, is going to get to grips with this? And why didn't your lot, you worked for the Tories, why didn't your lot do it?
I can't speak for my lot, because they should have done it, and they should have been a lot tougher on crime. But they seem to shy away from it, and I don't know if they wanted not to upset people. I'm not sure.
I think you should definitely be upsetting criminals.
Oh, well, absolutely, I think you should. But isn't it amazing that a crackdown is what we need? It's always a crackdown, or it's always a targeted campaign.
We've had a lot of those. When you worked in the Home Office, for goodness sake.
Yes.
What is the issue? Here's the thing. I mean, we told people we're going to have, you know, these police chiefs, but then we'd have the targets and their priorities weren't right. So we would have, I know we had a cut in the number of police officers, then it increased back to roughly where it was before, but they're all inexperienced, etc., etc. Got a lot more paperwork to do. But we were told we'd have these police and crime commissioners who were elected by us, I mean, like for the 5 people who turn out to vote for them. And they would set the priorities, and they'd be able to direct the police on what to prioritise. Who do you know who doesn't prioritise criminals being arrested?
But this is it, and I don't think you should prioritise going after, you know, phone thefts one day, car thefts another day, you know, rape another day.
All of it every day.
Just deal with it. And I think we needed to have got rid of the police and crime commissioners. I was never in favour of them in the first place. It is a useless level of bureaucracy that we've added, and that money could be well spent on those police forces that have them.
But again, we've got, I mean, for me, a lot of it is the politicisation of the police chiefs. You don't listen, you don't get ahead. You don't get through the policing college, and you don't get ahead at all in the policing world unless you kowtow to a lot of woke stuff, and then you have to pretend that the biggest problem in the world is someone misgendering someone who claims to be trans, and not someone who has worked really, really hard and paid for their phone, all their stuff in their bag, and then had it stolen from them, and nothing happens, and they know nothing's going to happen, and there's no doubt at all that the people who steal from them, they know nothing's going to happen. They don't even hide their faces, for goodness sake.
No, they don't care, because they know they're not going to get caught, and if they do get caught, it'll be a slap on the wrist and there's no evidence. No. And that's always
and there's never any evidence, because they don't find, I say, even, I was talking earlier, even in my own case, my bag was stolen on June the 1st. I provided them with all the evidence, and he hasn't been arrested, but then they couldn't find him. Turns out he was in prison. Just can't make this stuff up.
I mean, if you wrote this in a book, people would accuse you of just fictionalising everything.
I know. I think I'm on the 5th different police officer dealing with it as well. They all seem very nice.
And
they all seem very nice.
I'm sure they are.
But it's the 5th person dealing with it, so I don't even know who to email, you know. But but they found out this guy was in prison, but didn't bother letting me know until I actually emailed them to say what's going on. I mean, but don't worry, I've been sent an email via victim support. Yeah, are you traumatised by having a bag stolen? Yeah, because I'm 500 quid down.
Exactly.
And the bloke who stole my bag, hasn't been charged with this offence, you know.
But what are they going to do for you, victim support?
I don't know. I mean, hold my hand, I don't know. I don't know. Tell me that.
You just want some justice. You don't need your hand holding.
You know what will make me happy?
Nice words.
Yeah, seeing that guy buying bars. I mean, I'm sorry, call me old-fashioned, but there we are. I don't know, hang 'em and flog 'em, but, you know. Anyway, look, sunlit uplands. Apparently that's where we're heading. Light at the end of this tunnel is what Keir Starmer is going to say in 3 hours' time when he goes on stage at a Labour Party conference. What is going to be fascinating, actually, is the light at the end of the tunnel of this donors' row. Everyone is going to be Googling, where did Mrs. Starmer, sorry, Lady Starmer, get her dress from, and who gave it to her? Is it one of the ones that donor Wahid Ali gave to her? He's been wandering around conference quite happily, telling journalists off for asking whether he paid for his own suit or not. He probably donate, probably he has he has a billionaire donor who pays for them. Light at the end of this tunnel, though, is what Keir Starmer's going to say. He's going to be trying to move on from the doom and gloom, but it's been nothing but doom and gloom from the government since they've got into office, has it?
It's surprising how bad they have been at really dealing with government, considering that they kept saying, we've got 14 years of the Tories and they were rubbish, and they should have been preparing to go into government, which apparently they were. Well, their prep has been awful, because every single comms issue has not been dealt with.
Yeah.
So it looks bad, it sounds bad. They're putting out little junior newbie MPs to come and get monstered by people like you on the media.
I've been very nice to them.
I did see a couple of them yesterday, and they looked
very nice.
They looked as if they were a rabbit in the headlights, and they're trying to push out a line which they clearly don't believe in, and their constituents are going to take them to task. And you think, how many bad decisions does a government have to make before those people start to rebel?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I do want... I mean, they're already very unhappy about all the donations and things, aren't they? What do you make of this donation from Quadrature? Never heard of them. But basically a hedge fund registered in the Cayman Islands. Again, lovely place to go, I'm sure. Not been there. Hey, if someone wants to offer them a freebie trip to go to investigate them, I'm happy to go to the Cayman Islands. I'll do my duty for the people. But taking £4 million from a hedge fund registered abroad, clearly for tax purposes. Let's all stop the pretence they register there for anything else. All legal, of course, but we're told those loopholes should be closed. But this is a hedge fund that has shares in fossil fuels, arms manufacturers and private healthcare. I thought Labour were against a load of this stuff. Apparently not, if they're willing to give them £4 million. Here's the question. Why has a Cayman Islands registered hedge fund given £4 million to the Labour Party? Well,
what's in it for them?
They thought they were a good charity case? Well, interesting. Wes Streeton, the Health Secretary, last night, speaking to BBC News Now, he said, I'm really proud of people who want to contribute their money to our politics. It is a noble pursuit, just like giving money to charity.
No, it really isn't. It really isn't. You're buying influence. You're not helping somebody out of the goodness of your heart.
I mean, there are people who genuinely believe, that these are the policies, this is what I care about. I think that this party is going to do more for the causes I care about, working people or pensioners or animal charity or whatever it is, climate change, those lunatics. No, but I can sort of, that's what you think you're going to do. But what's their hedge fund doing? All you're going to be basically saying is we'd quite like to have some tax changes that would benefit us. That's what they want.
But it's all of the industries that apparently people like Ed Miliband want to get rid of. I mean, the fossil fuel industry, which is one of the major parts of that hedge fund, well, he wants to put them out of business, doesn't he? Have everything running off wind and solar.
Private health care. I mean, Wes Streeting doesn't mind private health care, but the rest of the Labour Party hates it. And Keir Starmer said, was it his mum? Was it his mum? Wasn't
she? He wouldn't use private healthcare.
She'd rather die than use private healthcare. And fossil fuels. So you should say trying to get rid of arms manufacturers, stopping some sales of arms to one of our closest allies, Israel. I mean, it's just the hypocrisy. This is it's the H word.
Yes.
The H word is what is going to bring them down. Another one as well, hubris. I mean, they're just they are so and another one, H, holier than thou.
Yeah.
And you know what? If you want to pretend to be like that, you better be whiter than white. And they ain't.
No, they're not. And this is where they're falling foul of it. And they keep pointing out, but what about the Tories? And it's what about them? What are you doing that's different? Oh, look, nothing.
And that's the thing. The voters are going, we dealt with them. We booted them out of office.
Yeah.
Millions of Tory voters stayed home. Millions voted for reform. Some, quite a lot of them voted Labour. Fine, your turn now. And again, I mean, it was something the Tories did for far too many years when Cameron and Osborne got in, which was like blaming Labour and and there were fair criticisms of the crash and the bailout and things.
Yeah.
But again, a lot of the criticism we've got from the Labour Party right now of the Tories is, this black hole, and they're making up these numbers. It's 22 billion. It's a completely made up number. But yes, we've got a massive problem with the finances because of lockdown policies, furlough, and bailing out on the energy, because we didn't have enough of our own energy, so we were hit by the Ukraine war and the economic sanctions much harder than other countries. I mean, America produces all their own. They're a net exporter of oil and gas. They frack. They're on a massive scale. They're producing way more than they've ever done. They have not seen inflation anything like what we've seen, and it's still a massive issue in the country's election, but nothing like the scale we've seen. I mean, Labour supported all of the policies which have cost the economy.
Well, they did, and they've got no answers as to how to change it, other than they aren't going to raise taxes at the moment. And you can look at it and you can think, well, there's the pay for miles, for driving, that's going to likely come in. Fuel duty will increase. So they are just going to keep taxing people because they think that is the way.
Not on working people. Again, most people are working people, but your taxes fall on working people. Again, if you think you're just going to tax some of the very rich, fine, good luck with that. But they're all going to move away, and then you don't get anything from them. That's one of the clever things that rich people are able to do, for goodness sake. Can I ask you about one other story? This is a wonderful story about a local council being shamed into repairs to potholes. I absolutely love this story. He's called a vigilante gardener. Is he a vigilante gardener? This is Harry Haggart-Smith. He's filled in approximately 40 local potholes with flowers. He pours in some earth, he plants a lovely little pot, and he says, what's so funny, he says, he started it about 2 months ago, the West Sussex County Council has filled in almost all of the potholes as soon as he turns them into unauthorised flower beds. Isn't that absolutely glorious?
I absolutely love it. And I think if anybody needs to crowdfund for his plants, then they really should.
Absolutely. And
300 quid he spends
making it safer for cyclists and others who,
all road users.
Potholes are very dangerous for cyclists in particular. We do care about the cyclists who are on the roads, opposed to the ones who are riding on the pavement, which is all they do around my way. But I love this as people. But again, he's shaming them into it. He said he spent £300 on plants and soil since starting his campaign, but he says he's got a near 100% success rate. This is what you need to do.
But that's it. And there was another chap who did something very similar and put little rubber ducks into these potholes.
Filled them up with water.
They were filled up with water, and he just put little rubber ducks.
It's almost like the council couldn't see them before then. Weird that.
They're just not looking, are they?
Didn't we see something hard enough? Wasn't Rod Stewart helping to fill in about a year ago? Helping to fill in local potholes, but then it turns out that's actually a crime. You're not allowed to go and fill in.
Which is amazing, isn't it? If you want to go and fix something.
That's so Britain 2024, isn't it? It so is.